Good evening. My name is Kevin Gilvari. I'm the legal advisor for the Town of Southampton Youth Court Program. Youth Court is run by the Town of Southampton Youth Bureau under the direction of Karen Matz. We receive referrals from the Town of Southampton Police Department, Southampton Village Department, Hampton Bays, and Southampton School Districts. Students in grade 9 through 12 go through a 12-week training program to learn how to run the courtroom. Youth Court is based on restorative justice and is not meant to be punitive. Restorative justice looks at who the victims are from the crime and helps the respondent, otherwise known as the defendant, to repair the harm that he or she caused to the victims. What you're about to see tonight is just a demonstration of what an actual case would look like. All of the participants here tonight are youth court members.
All rise. Southampton Town Youth Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Samantha Mahoney is presented.
You may be seated. Good evening. On behalf of the Southampton Town Youth Court Program, I want to thank each of you for being here tonight and for participating in youth court. Youth court trials are closed trials. Only the persons allowed to be in the courtroom are the people involved directly in the case. If there is anyone in the courtroom who is not directly involved in the case or who has not received permission from the youth court coordinator to be present at this trial, you will need to leave at this time. Youth court is a very important obligation which should be taken seriously. Anyone present who cannot give his or her full attention to the hearing tonight will be asked to leave the courtroom. I would like to remind you that everything that occurs or is discussed in this courtroom must maintain confidential, especially the name of the respondent. Anyone violating this confidentiality is subject to prosecution and will no longer be part of the youth court program. Will the clerk please announce the case?
Southampton Youth Court Case number 2016-83113, entitled Southampton Town v. Evan Kelly, will now begin.
Will the defendant please stand and state your name?
Evan Kelly, 17 years old.
You've been charged with harassment in the 1st degree, criminal mischief in the 4th degree, criminal tampering in the 3rd degree. Do you admit to your guilt of these charges?
I am guilty.
At this time, I would like to read you your rights and tell you the advantages of taking part of the youth court process. Your rights for coming to youth court are: you have the right to a proper youth court procedure, you have the right to have a defense counsel, you have the right to an unbiased youth court procedure, you have the right to have your parents or guardians present. Do you understand these rights?
Yes.
Your advantages in coming to youth court are: you are not sent to family court, you are not labeled a juvenile delinquent, you are judged by your peers, you do not have to pay attorney fees, you have an opportunity to learn about the justice system, you have an opportunity to serve as a jury member, to take part in a youth court process and see how it works, and you have the opportunity to join youth court as a member after these proceedings are done. Do you understand these advantages?
Yes, I do.
Thank you, Evan. You may be seated. Is there a parent or guardian here for Evan Kelly?
Yes.
Could you please stand and state your name for the record?
My name is John Kelly.
Thank you for being here tonight. Will the prosecution attorneys please stand and state your name for the record?
I'm Lily.
Erin.
Shannon.
Thank you. Will the defense attorneys please stand and state your name for the record?
Kristen. Jasmine.
Thank you. Members of the jury, it is your duty to determine what disposition, if any, is fair and appropriate for the defendant. To be sure you are impartial and able to fulfill these obligations, I must ask you some questions. Please verbally respond to each question I ask you. If an answer is yes, raise your hand and I will ask you some follow-up questions. Are any of you related to or have known the defendant for a long time?
No.
Have any of you had any problems with or quarreled with the defendant in the past, whether in school, neighborhood, or elsewhere?
No.
Have any of you heard anything about the defendant, whether good or bad, true or not, which might prejudice you in any way or form about this case?
No.
Did you witness this incident, or have you heard anything about it which might prejudice you about this case?
No.
Is there any reason that I have not asked you about which makes you unsure whether or not you should serve on this jury?
No.
Attorneys, do you accept to hear this case?
Yes, Your Honor.
Evan Kelly, as the defendant in this case, if you have concerns about a person in the jury, or you have the right to have any of the jury excused and replaced with another juror. You do not have to state a reason. Are you willing to have these people decide on your case?
Yes, Your Honor.
Members of the jury, there have been no objections to you serving as jurors in this case. Will the jury, all volunteers, both adult and students, parents, and witnesses, please stand and raise your right hand. Thank you. Do you solemnly declare that you will not divulge, either by written, spoken, or sign language, any information which comes to your knowledge in the course of the youth court case trial, and you will conceal all said proceedings which may be held in your presence?
I do.
You may be seated. Does the prosecution wish to make an opening statement?
Yes, Your Honor.
You may proceed.
Good evening, Your Honor, and ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Tonight you will hear the case of Evan Kelly. He's been charged with harassment in the 1st degree, 1 count of criminal mischief in the 4th degree, and criminal tampering in the 3rd degree. Evan, as you know, is a senior at Sandy Beach School. Since he states that he enjoys helping out with kids in his free time, he should know to set a better example for underclassmen and the children he is supposedly helping. However, Evan has been setting quite the opposite of a good example. With an average in the 70s and a clear lack of motivation, Evan has been slacking and not doing much to raise his suffering grades. He's had several detentions this year alone from failing to do his homework. Along with this, Evan has a history of fighting and drinking. He was suspended in 9th grade for a fight, and as you will see tonight, clearly did not learn his lesson. He's also admitted to drinking alcohol at least once a month. Back in December, Evan got into a verbal argument with Matt Williams during school. Evan had supposedly been flirting with Matt's girlfriend for quite some time, and Matt wanted it to stop. What could have been over that day was dragged on for months after their fight. Evan harassed Matt in the halls on a daily basis. Evan went out of his way to make Matt feel threatened and uncomfortable, whether it be aggressive hand gestures or verbal threats such as, quote, "Watch your back, I'm going to get you when you least expect it." Evan exceeded mere threats, however, on the night of March 4th. He was under the influence of alcohol and attempted to punch Matt. While Matt stepped back, it was clear what Evan's intentions were. How is it fair that Matt cannot attend a party or social gathering without fear that Evan will threaten or harm him? The harassment and abuse continued the following Monday when Evan decided to superglue Matt's chair. Not only did Evan cause the school damage, ruining a $300 desk, but he tormented and humiliated Matt. The class had to be moved to another room while Matt was cut from the chair. Threats, attempted assault, humiliation, tormenting, and bullying of Matt cannot come without consequence. Being embarrassed because a classmate yelled at you one day in the cafeteria is no excuse for the amount of harm Evan has caused. Neither is ADHD. Evan has tried in the past to blame his ADHD for the mistakes he's made according to his own father, but this is no excuse. The damage Evan has caused goes far beyond the realm of this disorder, and he must be held responsible. Evan has not apologized to Matt or the school for his actions, and he must see that what he is doing is unacceptable. It is for these reasons that we, the prosecution, recommend 80 hours of community service for the disruption he's caused the school, an Alcohol 101 course to learn about the dangers that drinking can have when decision-making, a written apology to both the principal and his teacher who witnessed the superglue incident, and a sincere public apology to Matt for all the trouble he has put him through. Thank you.
Thank you, counsel. Will the defense please give their opening statements?
Good evening, Your Honor, and ladies and gentlemen of the jury. You have just heard one side of Evan Kelly's case, a senior at Sand Beach High School. Matt yelled and cursed Evan out in front of the whole school for flirting with his girlfriend, which caused Evan to feel terribly embarrassed. There was constant tension between the two after this occurrence. As expected after something like this, Evan would make remarks to Matt at school, but never had any intention of seriously hurting him. On March 4th, Matt and Evan happened to show up at the same party. Evan was drunk when he arrived, and seeing Matt made Evan emotionally revert back to this incident in December when Matt humiliated Evan in front of everyone. Evan does have ADHD, so it is hard for him to control himself at times, and this happened to be one of those times. Evan got into Matt's face and drunkenly took a swing at Matt. No one got hurt, but Evan was forced to leave the party. Between the incident in December and now this one, Evan was very upset and angry. On March 7th, Evan had superglued Matt to his chair for embarrassing him twice. Evan made an honest mistake, and he quickly realized that after. He learned that he needs to better express his feelings and not get so angry. Evan now realizes that Matt wasn't intentionally embarrassing him, he was just being overprotective of his girlfriend. This is why we, the defense, recommend a disposition of counseling, specifically for his anger management, 40 hours of community service to repay the school. We recommend it at the elementary school because he likes to help out kids. A public apology to Matt to show him how truly remorseful he is, and participate in Alcohol-Wise to work on his drinking problem. Thank you.
Thank you, counsel. Will the prosecution please call their witness?
We call Matt Williams to the stand.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
You may be seated. Please state your name for the record.
Matthew Williams,
Matt, where do you go to school?
Sandy Beach High School,
And what grade are you in?
senior.
How long have you known Evan Kelly?
I grew up with Evan, like he was in my school since elementary school.
And what's your relationship to Evan?
We're just peers, just see each other in the hallways.
So you wouldn't consider him a good friend?
No.
Could you describe what happened in December in the cafeteria?
Evan was flirting with my girlfriend, so I got angry, and words were said between the two of us, and then he went out to tell the cafeteria what happened and embarrassed me in front of everybody.
Did Evan ever threaten to hurt you in the cafeteria that day?
No.
Can you describe what happened after this incident for the following months?
The next upcoming months, he just had harsh statements like, watch out, you'll get it.
Did you ever feel physically threatened by Evan?
Yes.
Did you feel at any point like Evan would hurt you?
Yes.
How long did the harassment go on for?
A few months until the party.
Can you describe what happened at the party on March 4th in your own words?
I went to my friend's party, and Evan showed up that night as well. I wasn't drinking, but Evan was. He came up to me, and he threw a punch. I stepped back, and he fell.
If you did not step back, do you feel as though Evan would have seriously hurt you that night?
Yes.
Did you provoke Evan in any way to punch you prior to him taking the swing?
No.
So just to sum things up, Evan approached you and attempted to punch you unprovoked, correct?
Yes.
Can you describe what happened the following Monday, March 7th?
Evan superglued my chair right before I sat down, so when the period ended, it dried. So when I tried to get up, I couldn't.
Had you had any contact with Evan in between the party and this incident?
No.
So this was also unprovoked?
Yes.
Did Evan say anything or respond after supergluing your chair?
Gotcha.
How did you feel after this incident?
I was embarrassed because of what happened. Yeah.
Has Evan apologized or shown any remorse for any 3 of the incidents?
No.
And has he stopped harassing you since the glue incident?
Yes.
No further questions.
Thank you. Does the defense wish to cross-examine the witness?
Yes, Your Honor.
You may proceed.
You and Evan go to school together, correct?
Yes.
You and Evan are classmates?
Yes.
You never had a problem with Evan before this incident, did you?
No.
You didn't like him speaking to your girlfriend, right?
Yes.
So it was your jealousy that started this incident?
Yes.
You cursed him out in front of the entire school, right?
No.
Well, you yelled at him and cursed in front of the lunchroom?
Yes.
What grades are there during your lunch period?
9th through 12th.
So in front of the entire high school, you cursed?
For the most part, yes.
So when you cursed him out, you knew that this would upset Evan, right?
Yes.
This is your now ex-girlfriend, right?
Yes.
Was it worth starting this fight with Evan?
No.
Would you feel embarrassed if someone verbally yelled and cursed at you in front of your entire high school at lunch?
Yes.
At the party on March 4th, Evan swung at you, but he missed, correct?
Yes.
So you were not injured?
Nope.
On Monday, March 7th, the day of the incident with the glue, you didn't see the glue on the chair, right?
No.
You just sat down without looking?
Yes.
You didn't notice after you sat down?
Nope.
Had you looked or noticed the glue, you would not have been stuck to the chair?
No.
How long are your school periods?
40 minutes.
So you did not move at all the entire period of this class?
No, we remained seated the whole time.
Okay. You have a sense of humor, right?
Yes.
And did you not just think that this was a practical joke someone was playing on you?
I did, but
Yes or no?
yes.
Okay. Thank you. No further questions.
Thank you. Does the prosecution wish to redirect the witness?
Yes, Your Honor. Were you remorseful after you yelled at Evan for flirting with your girlfriend?
I was.
So, did you apologize to Evan after?
I didn't.
But you never spoke to him about the incident again, correct?
No.
Do you normally look at your seat before you sit down?
Not usually.
And is it common for anyone to get up in the middle of the class unprovoked on a normal day?
Not usually.
What did you do when you tried to get up after class?
I couldn't. I was stuck there.
So you called the teacher for help? Or?
Yes.
And how did they end up getting you out?
They had to cut off my pants, and I had to change into my gym clothes.
So your pants were ruined
Yes.
after? How much did they cost?
About $50.
And did you think this was a funny joke at the time?
No.
No further questions.
Thank you. Does the defense wish to recross the witness?
Yes, Your Honor. May I proceed?
Yes, you may.
After the incident, you said you did not apologize to Evan, correct?
No.
And after he spoke to you in the hallways at school, would you have wanted him to apologize to you?
Yes.
And so do you think that if you had apologized to him, this entire incident wouldn't have happened?
Objection, Your Honor. This is hypothetical.
May you please repeat the question?
If you had apologized to him, do you think it could have stopped this situation from happening?
Sustained.
Okay, no further questions.
You may sit down. Does the prosecution wish to call any more witnesses?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. Defense, do you wish to call any witnesses?
Yes, Evan Kelly.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
You may be seated. Please state your name for the record.
My name is Evan Kelly.
Hi, Evan. What school do you go to?
I go to Sand Beach High School.
How are your grades?
They could be better. They're at about a 70 to 75.
Are your parents divorced?
Yes, they are.
Who do you live with?
I live with my father, John Kelly.
How often do you see your mother?
I see her during the summer, but
How does that affect you?
Growing up without a mother is definitely very difficult. Not having that pillar of support is definitely a big problem in my life.
Have you ever been to counseling?
Yes, I've been counseling for a few years now, for like the years following my parents' divorce.
Now on to the incident with Matt. Do you remember the verbal argument you had with him in December?
Very clearly, yes.
What was it about?
He was under the impression that I was flirting with his girlfriend, and he mouthed off on me.
And did that embarrass you?
I was humiliated.
And where did this incident happen?
It occurred in a crowded cafeteria in front of nearly the whole school.
And what grades were in that cafeteria?
9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, you name it.
And do you have many friends in your school?
I have little to no friends in my school.
Did this situation make this worse?
It definitely exacerbated my lack of friends, yes.
After this incident, did you talk to Matt at school?
I won't lie to you when I say I definitely gave some threats in his direction.
And can you explain why you said those things?
Oh, I guess I had a lot of pent-up anger and aggression, and Matt doing this made him sort of a lightning rod for it.
And did you attend a party on March 4th?
Yes, I did.
Did you see Matt at this party?
Yes, I did.
And were you drinking that night?
Oh, yes, I was.
What happened when you saw Matt there?
In my inebriated state, I attempted to punch him unsuccessfully.
And you ended up leaving that party after that situation, right?
Forcibly.
And you said you were drinking. How did that affect the situation?
It definitely clouded my mental judgment, and it made me a lot worse at making decisions.
And now let's talk about your ADHD. When were you diagnosed?
I was diagnosed a few years ago.
Do you take medication for that?
Yes.
While you were drinking, were you taking that medication?
Yes, I was on the medication.
And do you know the effects of drinking on that medication?
I'm not entirely sure now.
Did you take medication before or after this incident? Did you start?
I took less before these events happened.
Okay. And why did you get a higher dosage?
My doctor prescribed me a higher dosage after hearing about this.
And do you believe that through these incidents with Matt, you expressed your anger in a healthy manner?
By no means.
And on the incident of March 7th, can you explain what happened there with the super glue?
March 7th, well, I was really embarrassed after my inebriated fight with him on Saturday. And so I thought I'd get my ultimate revenge by supergluing himself to his own chair.
So, were you embarrassed by those events on that Saturday?
Yes.
And how do you feel about all of these incidents looking back on them?
Generally, there's a lot of regret here. There's a lot of remorse.
Have you learned your lesson?
I certainly hope so.
No further questions.
Thank you. Does the prosecution wish to cross-examine the witness?
Yes.
So do you consider yourself a responsible student?
Yes.
Well, do responsible students get detention for missing homework?
No, they do not.
And you say that you like to help children, but do you think that you're a very good role model for children?
I don't believe I am.
Now, pertaining to the incident, is it true that you flirted with Matt's girlfriend in the cafeteria?
I think that depends on your definition of flirting.
Well, did Matt think that you were flirting with his girlfriend?
Yes, he did.
And this made him angry, correct?
Very much so.
And this made him yell at you, correct?
Yes.
And this made you embarrassed, correct?
Yes.
But before this incident, you didn't really know Matt, correct?
We were very casual acquaintances.
Had Matt ever threatened you before?
No.
Did Matt ever threaten you in the cafeteria?
Never before.
But you still wanted to seek revenge after that, correct?
After the incident,
Yes.
yes.
And it's true that since December, you've been constantly harassing Matt on a daily basis, correct?
I've said some words to him, yes.
You said, "I'm going to get you when you least expect it," correct?
Yes.
So, pertaining to the incident on March 4th, you were under the influence of alcohol, correct?
Heavily so.
And you stated in your interview that you consume alcohol on a semi-regular basis, correct?
Yes, I do.
So, did you know that alcohol is illegal to consume for patrons under the age of 21?
Yes.
And in your questioning, you said that alcohol clouded your judgment that night, correct?
Yes, it did.
Is this an excuse for drunk drivers?
No, it is not.
Kill someone? So, is it true that you attempted to punch Matt on the night of the incident?
Yes, I did.
And you attempted to punch him because you were embarrassed still from the incident in December?
Yes, I was.
So, on the following Monday, you superglued Matt's chair in school, correct?
Yes.
And you did this because you were mad at Matt, correct?
Yeah.
And he was stuck to his chair during class, correct?
Yes, he was.
Your Honor, may I please mark this as Prosecution's Exhibit 1 for identification? So can you tell me what this item is?
Appears to be a partially used tube of superglue.
And does it belong to you?
It did at one point, yes.
And what relevance does this have to this incident?
This is the very same tube of superglue I used to fuse Matt with his chair.
So, may I have this moved as Prosecution's Exhibit number 1 for identification into evidence?
Defense, do you have any objections?
Objection, Your Honor. There's relevance. There's no reason for the jury to see the actual tube of glue that Evan used on the day of the incident.
I do plan to ask questions about the glue once I put in evidence.
Overruled.
Can I please have the glue shown to the jury? Thank you. So this glue is relatively clear. You wouldn't really be able to see it.
Yes.
So this was intended to trick Matt?
To an extent, yes.
And you intended to embarrass Matt, correct?
Yes.
And have you apologized for anything that you've done to Matt over the course of these weeks?
No, I have not.
No further questions, sorry.
Thank you. Does the defense wish to redirect the witness?
Yes, Your Honor. Evan, why do you drink alcohol?
To escape my reality.
And have you drank since March 7th?
No, I have not.
So you've learned your lesson about drinking?
Very much so.
Was the super glue supposed to be a prank?
Yes, it was.
What did you think would happen when Matt sat down?
I thought he would notice that he had sat on super glue and then perhaps have it stuck to his clothing.
And why would you want to embarrass Matt?
I've had some aggression towards him for the past few months now.
And what did this aggression stem from?
When he flagrantly embarrassed me in front of the entire school.
No further questions.
Thank you. Does the prosecution wish to recross the witness?
Yes, sir. So is alcohol a good way to deal with your problem?
I've learned that it isn't.
It actually created more of a problem for you in this case, didn't it?
Oh, yeah.
So, as far as the super glue, you did intend to embarrass Matt with the prank, correct?
To some extent, yes.
And So Matt embarrassed you on that one day in December, but do you think that all of the harm that you've tried to cause him is equal to what he did to you in the long run?
No, I do not.
No further questions, John.
Thank you. You may sit down.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Does the defense wish to call any other witnesses?
Yes, Your Honor. John Kelly, the respondent's father.
Please stand. Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
You may be seated. Please state your name for the record.
My name is John Kelly.
You're Evan's father, correct?
Yes, I am.
Are you divorced?
Yes, I am.
When did you get divorced?
Oh, about 4 years ago.
How old was Evan?
10 years old.
How did that affect Evan?
He was upset.
Does Evan live with you full time?
No, he does not.
Where does your ex-wife live?
Pennsylvania.
And how often does Evan see her?
And Evan sees her every summer.
Does being so far away from his mom affect Evan?
A little bit. He gets to see her in the summer. He has a good time. He seems to be okay with it during the winter.
Has Evan ever been to counseling?
Yes. After the divorce. He was upset and so.
How long did he go for?
2 years.
Have you ever been to family counseling with Evan as well as his individual counseling? Does Evan have any learning disabilities?
Yes, he was diagnosed with attention deficit disorder.
And does he take medication for this?
Yes, he does.
When did you, now talking about the incidents, when did you first hear about the incidents?
As soon as the school found out about the superglue incident.
And that was the first you heard? How did you react?
Oh, I was very upset. Very upset.
Has Evan been punished for his actions?
Yes, we took away his computer, we grounded him, he's not allowed out.
Alright. And this has been since the incident?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
1 second, counsel. Could you please answer all the questions verbally?
Verbally.
Yes. Thank you.
Has he apologized to you for his actions?
Yes, he apologized.
And was he sincere with that?
Yes, he was.
No further questions at your time, Your Honor.
Thank you. Does the prosecution wish to cross-examine the witness?
Yes, Your Honor. May I proceed?
Yes, you may.
Are you a responsible parent?
Yes.
Are responsible parents involved in the lives of their children?
Yes, they are.
So you're avidly involved in Evan's life, right?
Yes.
So you knew he used alcohol at least once a month? Yes or no, please?
Yes.
So you condone the underage use of alcohol?
No.
But you didn't punish him for it, correct?
No.
And not punishing him condones his behavior, right?
No.
You knew he was verbally threatening one of his peers?
No, I did not.
You knew he provoked physical fights?
No, I did not. Once. Yes. Once when he was younger.
In his senior year, did you know that he was provoking fights? So you just said you were involved in Evan's life. It looks like you're actually not so involved in your son's life, are you?
Actually,
Just yes or no, please.
I am involved in his life.
But you said that you are avidly involved and you know what he's doing. And clearly you do not, right?
Yes, I do know what he's doing.
You didn't know that he provoked physical fights?
No, I did not.
Or that he was verbally threatening one of his peers,
No, I did
correct?
not.
So you don't know everything that he's doing, correct?
No, I don't know everything that he's doing.
Do you feel Evan is ready for college?
Yes.
Would you consider yourself a role model for Evan?
Yes.
So do you curse people out?
Do I curse people out?
Yes.
No.
Do you condone the underage use of alcohol?
No.
Do you verbally threaten people?
No.
Are you violent with him?
No.
Do you instigate fights?
No.
These are all things we've proved that Evan does, correct?
Yes.
So I guess you're really not a role model if he still practices these behaviors, right? Just yes or no? From the evidence I've just given you.
I am a role model. I'm a good role model.
You punish Evan when he gets in trouble in school, correct?
Yes.
And do you believe your punishments are effective?
Yes.
So then why do you repeatedly punish him instead of seeking outside help?
I don't repeatedly punish him.
Well, Evan was suspended in 9th grade for starting a fight, correct?
Yes.
Did you punish him then?
Yes.
Evan got detention once last year, correct?
Yes.
Did you punish him then?
Yes.
Evan got detention twice this year, correct?
Yes.
Did you punish him then?
Yes.
So you repeatedly punish him, correct?
No.
We just listed many times that you
I
punished
don't
him.
consider 4 punishments in 3 years a repeated punishment.
So these are repeated offenses in school, correct?
No. I don't see them as repeated offenses. He was just in a fight once when
Okay,
9th
just
grade.
yes or no, please.
No.
Okay, no further questions at this time, Your Honor.
Thank you. Does the defense wish to redirect the witness?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Kelly, can you know what Evan is doing at all times?
Of course not.
And can you tell what he's doing when he doesn't tell you?
Of course not.
And so you heard of the incidents when the school called you?
Yes.
And can you explain how you're a role model for Evan?
Oh, we spend lots of time together. He comes to work. I got him a job in a marina. He loves to work on boats. He loves helping kids when he works on the boats. We spend time together.
Can you explain how? So those are all ways that you're involved with his life?
Yeah.
And what were Evan's detentions for?
Evan's detention's not doing homework twice.
And what was Evan's suspension for in 9th grade?
He got suspended for fighting.
And 3 years ago when he got suspended, you punished him, right?
I punished him, but I thought the suspension was enough.
Mm-hmm. And you gave him punishment for the detentions?
Yes, but again, I thought the detentions was enough.
And those 3 punishments were the only time he's been punished in high school?
Yes.
And so, would you call this a repeated offenses?
No, not at all.
All right. No further questions, Your Honor.
Thank you. Does the prosecution wish to recross the witness?
May I have a moment, Your Honor?
Yes, you may.
Thank you.
May I proceed, Your Honor?
Yes, you may.
So do you think you reprimand Evan as needed,
Yes.
but you allow him to consume alcohol underage?
No.
But you said that you do know that he consumes alcohol underage, correct?
Yes.
But you don't reprimand him for
I
it?
don't allow him to do.
But you could punish him, correct?
I could punish him. When he does it against, yes, I punish him.
So what would you call making the same mistake more than once, if not repeating them?
Making a mistake more than once,
If not repeating them?
if not repeating. If something was repeated, I would say that it's a problem. I don't see any repetition here.
Well, hasn't Evan committed the same offenses more than once?
More than once, but only several times.
No further questions.
Thank you. You may step down.
Thank you.
At this time, I'd like to give you the defense and the prosecution some time to work on your closing statements. Will the defense please give their closing statements to the jury?
Your Honor and ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you have just heard the case of Evan Kelly, a truly misunderstood boy. Evan did not provoke Matt in any way. He was only talking to a friend the two had in common, which happened to be Matt's girlfriend. Matt misread the whole situation, blowing it out of proportion, yelling and cursing Evan out in front of nearly the entire school. So if you really think about it, Matt is really the one at fault. He is the one who started everything. Evan merely had a normal human reaction by getting upset and angry for what Matt did to him. Even though ADHD is not an excuse, after the super glue incident, he was in fact put on a higher dosage of medication, proving that the dosage he was on then was clearly not enough to keep his ADHD under control. Evan made a mistake. We're all human. It happens sometimes. He did not think clearly at the time. He was only thinking of the public embarrassment Matt caused him twice now. Evan is truly remorseful for everything that happened. This is why we, the defense, recommend a disposition of counseling specifically for his anger management, 40 hours of community service to repay the school, recommended at the elementary school because he likes helping kids out, a public apology to Matt to show him how truly remorseful he is, and participating in Alcohol Wise to work on his drinking problem. Thank you.
Thank you, counsel. Will the prosecution please give their closing statements to the jury?
Yes, Your Honor. Again, good evening, Your Honor, and ladies and gentlemen of the jury. We appreciate your attendance here tonight and trust that your utmost attention has been given to solely the facts of this case. Before we go any further, I simply ask, is it okay to verbally threaten someone? Is it okay to consume alcohol at an age deemed illegal by the law? Is it moral or just to glue someone to a chair simply to take revenge? Finally, are high school seniors supposed to be pulling immature stunts like the one you've just witnessed before you? If you answered yes to any of these questions, then perhaps you haven't been doing a proper job of paying attention to the facts tonight. Or perhaps you have no respect for the law. But on behalf of the Southampton Town Youth Court, we here have no reservations in condemning you as an honorable jury, respecting not only the legal system, but the facts of each case brought before you. And we know you will act no differently when making your sentence tonight. We don't need to really think about it to realize that Evan is at fault. Hopefully what you've seen here too is a boy about to be sent off to college. Unfortunately, he's just that, a boy. Evan Kelly still has a lot of growing up to do before he can be deemed a young man. Because one thing's for certain, young men don't place blame on others for their immoral actions. They don't partake in illegal substance abuse. They don't end up in positions where their bad behavior reflected impulse rather than thought. No, this boy, Evan Kelly, is the perfect candidate for youth court. Still in desperation for an opportunity to mature, his father, John, clearly hasn't taught him right from wrong at home. He let his child become a textbook example of why programs like ours exist. Evan's carelessness, his lack of responsibility, has led him to be sitting in front of you all, where we can decide how to make him pay for his actions. He must finally be held responsible, not only for the harassment and bullying of Matt Williams, but also for the destruction he has caused to the school. It's time Evan stopped blaming other people, his condition, or surroundings for his actions, and start owning up to them. On behalf of myself, my prosecution team, and the entire legal system of the town of Southampton, we believe that Evan can grow from this experience and become a more well-rounded, level-headed young adult. But it is up to you, jury members, to make sure that he gets that opportunity. We believe that an appropriate disposition for the harm Evan has caused includes 80 hours of community service in reparation to his school, an Alcohol 101 course to learn about the effects of drinking that can have on decision-making, a written apology to both the principal and his teacher who witnessed the superglue incident, and a sincere public apology to Matt for all the trouble he has put him through. Again, thank you to all in attendance tonight. We eagerly await the restorative justice process and the benefits we are confident it will have on the respondent. Thank you.
Thank you, counsel. Members of the jury, the respondent, Evan Kelly, has been charged with harassment in the first degree. A person is guilty of harassment in the first degree when he or she intentionally and repeatedly harasses another person by following such person in or about a public place or places, or by engaging in a course of conduct, or by repeatedly committing acts which place such person in a reasonable fear of physical injury. Criminal mischief in the fourth degree. A person is guilty of criminal mischief in the fourth degree when, having no right to do so, nor any reasonable ground to believe that he or she has such right, he intentionally damages property of another person, and recklessly damages property of another person in the amount exceeding $250. Criminal tampering in the third degree. A person is guilty of criminal tampering in the third degree when, having no right to do so, nor any reasonable ground to believe that he has such right. He tampers with property of another person with intent to cause substantial inconvenience to such person or a third person. It is your duty to determine a fair and appropriate disposition for the defendant and make sure that you remain impartial when making your decision. In deciding what disposition you will hand down tonight, you must consider only the evidence that has been presented in the court tonight. When you reach the jury room, it is important that each of you on the jury expresses your opinion with each other during the deliberations and relates to each other what you feel to the disposition, what the disposition should be and why. Remember, it is only your duty to the respondent, the victim, and the community to speak your conscience and in the jury room. If you simply go along with the crowd, you're not doing your job. When you reach a majority decision, you are to inform the bailiff through a written decision note, which will be delivered by the jury foreperson. Once court is back in session, the jury foreperson will announce your disposition to the court. Will everyone please rise? Will the bailiff please escort the jury to the jury room to begin the deliberations? The court is now in recess while the jury is in deliberations. You may be seated.
All rise.
Thank you. You may be seated. Who is the foreperson of the jury? State your name for the record.
Brooke?
Has the jury reached a disposition?
Yes, we have.
Will the bailiff please deliver the verdict to the bench for inspection? Will you please read this disposition?
We, the Youth Court for the Town of Southampton, recommend the respondent receive the following constructive sentence. 2 times to serve as a juror in future youth court cases, 60 hours community service, marijuana 101 for alcohol-wise, counseling, and a public apology to Matt. We, the jury, feel Evan can learn from the youth court process, especially about accountability. We would also like him to repay the community with 40 hours of service and to receive counseling to address his temper issues.
Will the respondent please rise? Evan, the members of the jury have simply done their duty here tonight and returned a disposition for you to fulfill. The decision was a group decision and must be respected. Mr. Williams, could you please come up here to receive your public apology?
Yes.
May I proceed?
Yes, you may.
You know, Matt, in the past couple months I've done a lot of things to you. I've said a lot of things, and I regret almost all of them. I just want to tell you from the bottom of my heart that I'm very sorry.
It's okay. I appreciate your apology.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kelly. Thank you. On behalf of everyone here tonight, I wish you good luck. I do hope that your future will be filled with positive activities only, and that your role in our community and society will form this night on, will be exemplary. I would also just like to say that I did realize that you said that you felt like you didn't have friends, and I don't feel like anyone should feel that way. I do know that joining this program, I did create lots of friendship with the 3 years of me being here, and I would think that it would be a good idea for you to join. There's a lot of activities that you can do here and a lot of great people that you will meet. That being said, at this time I would like to ask the bailiff to escort you and your parents to the youth court coordinator, Ms. Matz, who will explain the obligations and conditions of your disposition.
Thank you.
1 second. Members of the jury, I commend you on the job you have done here tonight. The disposition you handed down was fair and appropriate for the offenses which have been committed. It is important that we all realize that it is necessary for society to have rules to protect us, and that it is our obligation to follow these rules. Members of the juries, attorneys, and youth court members, I thank you all for the respect you have given the defendant and the law. At this time, you are all excused. However, remember that you have a duty to uphold the oath of confidentiality concerning these proceedings and the individuals here tonight. The court is now in recess.